Are you planning to move?
No,
Never?
never.
You know that's a violation of city charter?
Let's have a chat with Fred Sandoval, the city manager of San Benito. Yes, we're back in Hangover City in the Rio Grande, where the median household income is just over $38,000 a year. Sandoval is well off compared to most folks in town. He makes $135,000 a year as the city manager, hired last October, and since March of this year, Sandoval also became the head of the Economic Development Corporation, paid to get others to invest in San Benito's future, to come live here. He brings in another $75,000 a year in that gig. The city manager job comes with a promise, and it's right there in the city charter. The manager will become a resident of the city as soon as practical following appointment. Residency is also required by the San Benito EDC. Makes sense. If you're the guy telling other people to come there, how great the place is, shouldn't you live there too? So we were a little surprised when we first went to Sandoval's house, because it's not in San Benito. Hello? It's in far, nearly 40 minutes out of town. Since he's been in his job almost 9 months, we expected to see at least a for sale sign, but we didn't. So we asked the mayor to explain the discrepancy.
How long are you going to put up with him not living in San Benito?
He has told me that he is looking for a house.
You've been the city manager for a while. Your house is not for sale.
No, it is not.
He is looking for a house.
No,
Never?
never.
To hell with that silly city ordinance. And while he's no lawyer, yes, we checked, Sandoval fashions himself some kind of legal expert because he quoted to us a state law saying the citizens of San Benito, well, they can't make him live in San Benito.
Do you know that it's the charter violation of Local Government Code 150.021 that doesn't require me to live in the municipality that I'm working in?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Mr. Sandoval should read the rest of that statute just a little more closely. It's just a couple of more words, Mr. Sandoval. Quoting, it does not apply to residency requirements for municipal department heads appointed by the mayor or governing body of the municipality. That's you, Mr. Sandoval. And it turns out the mayor isn't going to make him even follow the law.
Never?
Never.
Wonder if the city commission will vote to ignore that little law too.
I mean, do we force him to, to leave everything over there and then come back this way? I'm not going to do that.
It's a curious development for a town that seemed to have a zero tolerance about stuff like residency.
You want to step down or are you?
I'm not stepping down. If you want to remove me, you can remove me.
Okay.
Commissioner Carol Sanchez had moved out of San Benito to Harlingen because she was running for state office. There was just 3 weeks left in her term, but fellow Commissioner Pete Galvan wanted to oust her anyway right on the spot, immediately.
We have so many issues in San Benito, and the fact that you take the last 3 weeks left that I have of this to now make an issue is ridiculous.
So maybe...
And that's why we are a joke to all our surrounding communities.
Sanchez was voted out, but before that happened, listen to this exchange she had with the new city manager in town, Fred Sandoval.
Okay, is this the same charter that applies that also says the city manager has to live within city limits?
Yes, absolutely.
The former city manager in San Benito had been paid off to leave, and part of the criticism against him was that he only lived in San Benito part-time. That's a lot better than no time at all. He doesn't even have a rent place in town.
No more questions.
The meeting's about to start.
So we didn't have a chance to ask Sandoval why he's lied so much to the local media. First, these headlines. Sandoval claiming I had told him who had hired us to investigate the political corruption, the nepotism, the patronage in town. He was all over the local news. Sandoval would later claim he was misquoted. That wasn't the biggest whopper at all. While we were researching San Benito public officials, we identified an EDC board member named Juan Flores as a convicted sex offender who was failing to report he had even moved to San Benito. He had sexually assaulted his 13-year-old niece. We called San Benito police to report it. They didn't know, but they arrested Flores the very next day. And through state law, we found this, the handwritten resignation letter Flores sent to the EDC board right after he got busted. But Mr. Sandoval, he actually told the newspaper, the Valley Morning Star, that it was, quote, the city's due diligence that discovered this child predator in their ranks. Not our investigation, but theirs. That's ridiculous. It's true that Mr. Flores lied on his application to the EDC about his little stint in prison. But we had wondered how this new guy in town went from a 5-year prison sentence to an appointed high-ranking position in the city. Now we all know. On that application, Flores wrote he had a special connection to San Benito City Hall. He was the mayor's cousin. Oh, that explains it. It was more of that San Benito brand of nepotism we've come to learn so much about. But how does Mayor Guerra defend all this? He had to know about this family sexual abuse case, this child predator, before he appointed him to a government panel. Wish we knew about all that stuff when we chatted with the mayor last month, because he's not talking to us anymore. But we did have a chance to ask him then about another one of his kinfolks, his brother Johnny, who apparently was involved in more than helping folks find affordable housing while at the San Benito Housing Authority. He was accused of repeated sexual harassment.
Sexual unwanted behavior, not only by one, but multiple females. There were several women that were afraid to come forward because of the ties that he had with his brother, obviously being the mayor.
The mayor was later accused in a federal lawsuit of waging a campaign of retaliation against those who got rid of his brother. First, replacing members of the Housing Authority Board, and it was those appointees who then fired the executive director, Yvette Nieto, who had fired his brother.
I did not go out there to retaliate against anybody in there, okay?
Nieto later claimed in a federal lawsuit that the Housing Authority Board Chairman, Ben Cortez, even admitted that he and others had been appointed to find out why Johnny Guerra had been terminated by the Housing Authority. Cortez's appointment brought out anger at City Council, too, about his criminal track record.
Is this what San Benito should be proud of? Rewarding a convicted felon who spreads lies about people?
Well, that was refreshing.
There is a real fear of political retaliation for those who speak out. Political allies are in charge at City Hall and the school district, and in a small town, the school district employs a lot of people. The president of the school board is a known political ally of the mayor, and the mayor's brother, well, he just got hired as the IT director for the school district. Get it? This place reeks of political patronage, nepotism. In May of 23, Deborah Morales got elected to the San Benito City Commission. Since that time, her husband, Jose Morales, has been put on at least 2 separate city boards, planning and zoning, and the San Benito EDC, along with his election to the Navigation District, their son on another city board. San Benito refuses to strengthen its nepotism rules. That's no way to run a city.
I cannot answer any questions. We're under litigation, so.
You got your husband on the EDC? You think that's the right thing to do? That's got nothing to do with litigation.
Chief.
That legal battle with Varco, it was already underway when we first showed up in town. At the city's request, Varco had spent millions developing Resaca Village, a shopping center on EDC land inside the city. Land that some may have forgotten had gone unused for years, generating no taxes. Some stores in the village are already open, but the project has been much delayed. After agreeing to give the company more time to finish in exchange for financial penalties, the EDC reneged on the deal. We now know from emails that's why their former attorney resigned. The majority of the EDC board, he wrote, wanted to work with Varco and get the project back on track. The Morales family is clearly behind the city's effort to now go into the shopping center business. to push Varco out of the way in the 11th hour, even though the company already has close to $10 million invested in the project. It explains why Varco filed a lawsuit against the EDC. The EDC went to court while we were in town to try and evict Varco. We just had to watch. A judge said no.
They either want to kick us out and give it over to somebody that they know. It could be a family member, it could be a friend.
Government should not be running shopping centers, even if the EDC could get helpful advice from Daniel Galvan, the brother of City Commissioner Pete Galvan. He's a real estate broker. It's not the politicians who will pay for the cost of this fight, it's the residents of San Benito.
It's under state law. I'm not the city attorney. You're the lawyer for somebody. You wrote me a letter.
Paying the bill for this guy, attorney Michael Prunetta, who has already wasted taxpayer money fighting our request to simply see how the EDC money has been spent. His latest bill includes this laughable letter sent to Dolcefino Media, claiming Jose Morales doesn't have to show us any of his government communications because he's really not a public official, just a volunteer.
You wrote the letter, dude. I didn't write the letter. You did.
Is someone trying to sell us one of those international bridges?
Making friends all the time.
It was Jose Morales who Varco accused of an attempted shakedown of Varco executives. His communications are critical.
We were kind of shocked by the behavior.
We've investigated a lot of cities and we have a little free advice. Don't sue people who are investing millions in your town to make it better. If you don't like the deal you cut years ago, then do a better deal next time. If there are any takers, because who'd want to come to town now?
This is the Hog Waddle concert and event.
Use the cash to throw a bigger Hog Waddle, that annual big event in the city. Our video investigation, Drunk with Power, has been the talk of the Rio Grande. 115,000 views on social media so far. The local paper's publisher called it an atomic bomb, accused the city of trying to bury its head in the sand, hoping it will all go away. Some folks loved it. The darkness is coming out to light. Always San Benito hiding everything.
Yeah, go ahead, call the police.
They called the cops on us when we first showed up at City Hall. And then there was a Facebooker named Garcia Luis, quite the fan. Quote, I challenge you, old fart, to do your research, not your fake news and exaggerated voice. You sound like the Jesse Ventura show.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
The newspaper said we'd be taking aim at other members of the administration, and well, he got that right. Because they aren't just drunk with power in San Benito, they're arrogant with that power too.
Are you planning to move?
No,
Never?
never.
What do you have to say to all your naysayers?
Well, I was correct, wasn't I?